Alright, so this is the DJI Power 1000, and we're going to compare it today against the Anker Solix C1000, a similarly sized and priced portable power station that's previously been one of my favorites in terms of cost to performance. These both have a 1 kilowatt hour battery, theoretically meaning you could power a 100 watt device for about 10 hours on both of them before needing to recharge, or a 500 watt device for 2 hours. But they both have a pretty different set of features. And usually they're both listed for $1,000, but currently there's a coupon for $400 off on Amazon for the C1000, putting this one at $600, and DJI has theirs listed at $699. So from a value perspective, we're going to see if the DJI Power 1000 is worth the extra $100, because that's the cost difference that you would see if you purchased either one of these today. My biggest complaint usually about these small power stations is the lack of solar input, because I want to charge my power stations with the sun and use them to power devices in a situation where the grid power is not available, or for my bigger power stations to offset the cost of grid power. You might have a different use case. A lot of people buy power stations and use them at a trip or at an event or to charge camera equipment while filming, and some of those people don't really care about solar input, but they might consider it like a nice to have. So I'm going to go ahead and consider both of them for the purpose of this video. And before we dive really into the specs, I couldn't have made this video without DJI's participation. They did sponsor this video and send out the Power 1000 so I could make this comparison happen. So thank you, DJI, for that. Anyways, the DJI Power 1000 has a maximum solar input of 800 watts, and Anker C1000 only allows 600 watts. So by total input, DJI is a winner with 200 additional watts of solar input. To get there, DJI uses the SDC and SDC Lite ports, and they sell an NPPT controller that you can plug into them. The unit itself comes with one MPPT controller, and an additional one will cost you $59. The controller lets you plug 3 solar panels into it with a maximum rating of 30 volts and 200 watts each. You can use lower voltage and lower wattage panels, but you can't use panels with higher than 30 volts, and you can only plug a maximum of 400 watts into each MPPT controller. So two 200 watt 30 volt panels would max out one of the MPPT controllers. So considering that, if you use the tools that the Power 1000 comes with, you can get a total of 500 watts of solar input, because it also comes with a car adapter, and that adapter has an XT60 input port, and that would allow you to plug in an additional 100 watt power source or solar panel. DJI also sells an authorized 100 watt solar panel from Cygnus, but if you buy 6 of them and max out both of the MPPT controllers for this device, you'll only get 600 watts of solar input. So to get 800 watts, you'll need to use third-party panels. Having 2 arrays plugged into 2 separate controllers does give you some flexibility if you wanted to set them up in different positions to account for adjusting solar conditions throughout the day. For example, if you plan on camping out at the same spot for a while and you didn't want to move your panels around. The solar panel from Cygnus is actually really well put together, and it has a pretty nice built-in carrying handle and pretty decent kickstands. It's also got a nice zipper pocket to bundle up the cable that's built into the panel, so you don't have to worry about losing it. I actually really like the build quality of the panel. Also, the MPPT controllers also come with some heat dissipation brackets, but I couldn't figure out how to install them, and there was nothing about them in the instructions other than the fact that it came with them. So I assume there's a reason they included them, but I couldn't figure it out. The Anker Solix C1000, on the other hand, only has one XT60 input port, and it accepts between 11 and 60 volts and up to 600 watts. It's very straightforward, but has a lower maximum solar input, and you can plug a single array into it. But it is built in, and you don't have to get an additional MPPT controller. As for the AC input, charging from wall power, DJI allows 1200 watts of AC input. Look, I have it charging up right now. $1,200 watts. It is silent. The Anker Solix C1000 allows 1300 watts. There is a physical switch for you to enable 1200 watts on DJI's Power 1000, and I just always leave it turned on. But for Anker's C1000, to charge it at their maximum speed, you have to download their app and then connect to it and then enable fast charging every single time you plug it in. If you don't do that, the fastest it will charge is 1000 watts. If you do that, you can get between 1300 and 1400 watts. Doing that's really annoying, and I just never do it. But Anker can actually charge a tiny bit quicker if you connect to it with the app and turn it on when you plug it in. In a real world situation, it would save you maybe 10 minutes. In reality though, DJI charges quicker because I never want to connect to this thing. Now, as for AC output, the Anker C1000 impressed me quite a bit when I first got it. 1800 watts of sustained output with 2400 watts of peak output is pretty crazy for a little power station this size. But DJI claims the Power 1000 can hit up to 4400 watts of output. it can push 2600 watts for 30 seconds. All right, here we go. See how it happens. The clock is running. It's beeping, so I guess that means that 30-second countdown is good. And it will sustain 2200 watts continuously until it dies. The Power 1000 is about 1 year newer than the Anker Solix C1000, so they probably have some advantages going for them with more modern tech being available. If you like to charge things with USB-C, just skip Anker because it has a single 100 watt USB-C output and a 30 watt USB-C output. It's also got the two USB regular 12 watt outputs. DJI, on the other hand, offers two 140 watt USB-C charging ports. It also has the two regular USB ports. I do appreciate that the C1000 has 6 AC outlets, so if you're powering several AC powered devices, you don't actually need to bring an extra power strip, and the built-in LED light is kind of nice, but I never actually really use it except for in these videos. The option to buy an expansion battery is pretty nice if you need it and you have the budget for it, but it's $800 and that money would obviously be better spent on just another power station with more functionality, so I don't think it's worth buying. The C1000 also has Wi-Fi and Bluetooth available, which is cool if you need and want that. But like I said, you are required to download their app and connect to it in order to access certain features like quick charging, and that always really bothers me. The DJI Power 1000 is a non-connected device, so there's no wireless control whatsoever, but I personally believe that is something that certain people are actually looking for, and I find it refreshing to just be able to plug in a device and use it and not have to download an app or activate or register first. So whether or not you like that, that's up to you. DJI also has a really nice carrying case, and this is probably one of the most underrated features. When you're carrying stuff to and from location, being able to protect your gear from damage and also just kind of throw it over your shoulder or carry it with one hand easily is a big bonus. You can fit the MPPT controller into the carrying case too, so you don't actually need to worry about that. But you will have to unplug it if you want to zip everything up. It won't fit while it's plugged in. These both have LFP or lithium iron phosphate batteries. Anker claims the power station is rated up to 3,000 cycles, meaning draining the battery from 100% to 0%, and DJI claims 4,000 cycles. They're really both saying the same thing. LFP batteries last forever, and you don't really need to worry so much about how you store them after they're charged, or what percentage you store them at. In terms of holding a charge, I charged up the DJI Power 1000 to 100% and turned it off for a week, and I turned it back on and it was still at 100%. The Anker Solix C1000 was charged up to 100% and then it's been sitting in a closet for 6 months. And then when I turned it on, it was at 55%. I assume that has something to do with like parasitic drain and the connected wireless features. I wasn't able to run a test that long on the Power 1000 yet, but I will be doing that as soon as this video is over. Also, they both weigh exactly 28.5 pounds, so there's really not anything to talk about there. All in all, I think DJI has delivered a really fantastic power station and it's worth the extra $100. Particularly if you don't need any wireless features and you need additional charging capability in terms of more solar input and higher USB output for more than one device. Also, it's extremely silent when recharging. The C1000 is a noisy beast. If you want to pick up either one of these, there's links to them in the description of this video. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.